Battle of the Challenges podcast, episode 3 review with Vincent Cloud.
DJ Matty Nice.
We're going to start on the mission first. I don't want to talk about the depressing 20 minutes. The mission itself, it had 2 teams go, so 4 people go at the same time. Nope. So the mission was done like that. But yeah, the first 20 minutes or so, it was about the death and shit. I don't even want to talk about it, actually. It's so horrible and sad. How about we talk about the mission first, and then we get into... Well, yeah, we'll get into the mission. We'll start off with action and everything else, but then we'll end on a somber note. We'll end on a down note like Empire Strikes Back. All right? Let's start off with the third mission, man. On again, off again. Yeah, it's pretty par for the course, though. It's over the water. It's heights, swimming. It was kind of a redux of another Battle of the Exes thing that they had. Remember Rolling in the Deep where they had to hold onto that log? And it spun.
Yeah, and then they fell off, and then they had to swim.
Yeah.
And get to the boat. Yeah, something like that.
It was kind of like that.
Well, let's first start. I mean, at the beginning of it, let's talk the strategy of the picking of the order. So, who were the first 4 to go?
Naz and Nani are in charge. Yeah. They do the typical thing. They put John, Jay, and Simone, and Jay and Jenna first.
The rookies. Yeah. Makes sense. Don't want to piss too many people off. I love that they put Wes second, just to kind of spit on his face a little bit.
There's another thing about how Bananas, he didn't even make himself go last. He let Sarah and Jordan go last.
That's a good point.
That's like a sign of good faith. The opposite of making Wes go second. You know? But I'm not in the zone yet.
We'll just talk. It's not
gonna happen.
So first up, we got, who is it? John, Jay, and Simone.
And Jay and Jenna.
And as soon as Simone falls off, like right off the bat.
Yeah, she went flying.
I knew that they were gonna take last place. I even called it when we were watching it.
She wasn't very good. I mean, well, John Jay, he wasn't very supportive. He could give it 2 shits.
Yeah.
He got to the beach and he just kind of like waved her off. He couldn't care.
Yeah, I don't think he could make her go faster. He could have probably gone up there.
He could have came back and maybe kind of pulled her tugboat style or something like that. Yeah.
And he straddled with a bad partner.
Yeah. Although he's fucking bad too.
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he's any better. He just, in this challenge, he could swim faster.
You know, and then there's Jay and Jenna. Jenna, she doesn't want to do it because what if she falls and hurts her face? The moneymaker.
Oh, come on.
She's a model, Matt.
Oh my God, that whole model thing. She's like the 5th hottest chick in the house.
I like that Jay was very supportive with Jenna again, but then Jenna's talking on the confessional and she's like, I don't even listen to what he has to say. She's like, I know it's bad, but I just don't want to listen to him. And already I'm like, this fucking partnership is doomed.
Yeah.
Like he's genuinely trying to.
And he has been throughout the missions.
Yeah, and she didn't give a shit. So no. I'm on the Jay train.
Heard reviews prior that everybody thought Jay was gonna be kind of a weasel, but he's been kind of keeping his nose clean here and been a pretty stand-up guy for the most part.
Yeah, I would say so too. I mean, I think he's funny and shit. I don't know. I don't care about it. Like, people bring up his past before he got into the house. He hasn't done anything not well. He made it with John A, but...
She made it with him.
Yeah, she grabbed him. He was talking. She just grabbed him.
Back on track. We're losing our track.
Yeah, no. I don't think we were ever on track. So, John, Jay, and Simone, they suck. Jay and Jenna, they do just a little bit better. And then it's Adam and Brittany and Wes and Teresa. Immediately, Brittany falls off. Yeah. She has no arm strength. And then Teresa, she gets ensnared in the rope.
That's right. And she thinks she breaks her hand.
It was all red and shit.
I could see the desperation in your eyes for Team Wes.
Oh my God.
When she thought she broke her hand.
Yeah, I was like, fuck. She's gonna pull a Car Maria, man. They do pretty good. I mean, they ended up getting ultimately 2nd place. I mean, Wes is I think he's like an award-winning swimmer. And Teresa, she's from Wisconsin. We have to swim in Wisconsin. And then Adam does okay. I mean, he's being supportive, which is kind of unusual. But then it's kind of about them, this episode, their relationship. Throughout the episode, they keep on referring to Adam and Brittany's will they, won't they sort of bullshit, which I don't really care about. Okay, and then we have Knight and Jemmy and Zach and John A. One of my favorite parts was when Jemmy was like, oh, I was a lifeguard? And I was like, who the fuck would trust you with their lives or something like that? Oh, my God. And he was just, like, on fire this entire episode, Knight was.
Yeah, he was.
Because Jemmy is the first one to fall off almost immediately.
I should laugh. about this.
And he's like, gravity is a bitch, and when you have thighs like that, you're gonna get it sucked right down to the ground.
They legitimately hate each other, and that's probably one of my more favorite storylines of the season. Continually rip on each other, and it's not even like playful pandering. They are full out at war, hate each other, yet they still somehow seem to do okay usually.
And the same thing kind of goes with Zach and Janae, or Zane as we called it.
Zane.
But it's one-sided. Zach just rips on Janae like as often as he can. Well, he rips on everyone. I'm still getting the feeling of him wanting to be.
Well, I can't wait until this whole Jenna Zach thing breaks off, and then he can talk about how
he hates Jenna and
because
above her.
Of how dumb he thinks she is.
Oh right.
He already feels like he's above her. I feel like, especially after that president of Wyoming.
They didn't hang out at all this episode. Maybe not after that president of Wyoming.
I still feel like they're getting on.
Yeah. You don't just walk away from that.
No.
Easy and simple. You keep that shit around, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Zach and Knight, they do really good, and then eventually it comes down between Janae and Jemmy. I think Janae outswims Jemmy the lifeguard, if I'm not mistaken.
She does.
She did have to swim a lot farther around, I suppose.
Yeah, she fell pretty quick.
Yeah, and then afterwards, at first, Knight's like, I figured I'd help her out and not be an asshole for once in my life, so I clapped my hands, and she came to me like a dog.
Yeah, he was on fire with the zingers, man.
And Jemmy's just not even on board with those anymore. At first, she would kind of laugh, like, oh, that's just how we are. And she's like, stop it. Now she's just telling him to just stop.
Yeah.
And then next, we have Bananas and Nani, and Leroy and Naya.
Nani falls off?
Yeah, almost immediately. You're thinking that might be his Achilles heel. That could be the thing that...
That's been my thing the whole time.
But Leroy, he gets to show off what he's learned on YouTube with the swimming, with the doggy paddling.
Yes. And you know what? It still didn't help him. They did terrible.
Yeah, they both did pretty bad.
But Leroy has always been known as a bad swimmer.
Yeah.
In his defense.
Jordan and Sarah go last with Johnny and Avery. Sarah's like, oh, I can't wait. I could finally show people how good I can be with a good partner. And to me, I'm like, oh, fuck, man. Just why did you have to include, like, how good I could do with a partner? Just say, like, oh, finally, we get to compete. I really want to compete, and I'm hoping that Jordan can hold his own or whatever. Johnny and Avery, they go, oh, yeah, by the way, so Sarah's, once again, talking all this shit, and guess who was the first one to fall?
Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah. Oh, my God, man.
But
I don't want to hate on her too much, but really, is like, she's one of those people that I feel like she just kept on doing the challenges, and somehow people are like, oh, she's great or whatever. I don't feel that way at all, man. It basically comes down between Jordan and Sarah and Wes and Teresa. Once again, Wes and Teresa find themselves in the top two or
three teams. Yeah. Well, last challenge they took second.
Yep, and then they won the first one, so they're
Been
performing way more than I thought they would. Actually,
absolutely.
I don't know where this is coming from Teresa, but all of a sudden she's able to hang. I didn't get that impression at all from free agents either. So Jordan and Sarah, they win. They beat out Wes and Teresa by 3 seconds. And immediately we get the return of overconfident Sarah.
Yeah. It's been her biggest Achilles heel in everything she's ever done. I don't have an inherent problem with her like you. I don't dislike Sarah.
Yeah. But you're not exactly gushing over her either. No. Is she kind of middle of the road for you or what?
Middle of the road competitor. She's not a terrible competitor, and she does do good in some things. She doesn't usually suck at any one activity that she does.
John, Jay, and Simone, they get last place. They were worse than Leroy and Nia, but not by much. I mean, Leroy and Nia, they were lucky. Just barely surviving. I don't know, man. How are you feeling about Leroy?
I was high on them at the beginning of the season, and my hope is fading. Like, I really thought they would be a really good team and make top 3.
They're a wild card team. Like they could be very good at certain things. Like something where it's all physical. Like the first one was a heights thing. The second one was these weird things you play in your backyard with your friends. You know, that sort of shit.
Good point. Yeah.
And the third one is swimming, which is not their forte whatsoever. So I feel like eventually something's gonna come around and they're just gonna blow it out of the water or they're gonna kill it. Sarah and Jordan win. Now, this is the part where I actually start to sit up and pay attention because now they want to make some power moves or they want to start setting up for the future down the road.
Yep.
They're thinking long term.
This one, I do like the strategy where it's going, what they're playing it off. But it's a dangerous game playing in the middle.
What their plan is to basically let the Wes and Bananas thing run its course.
Right.
Their theory is that Wes is eventually going to go after Bananas. That way they don't have to call him out personally. So they bring in Wes, and they're like, we're not going to say your name, and if we ever win and it's between you and Bananas, we'll say Bananas' name. So Wes takes off. Bananas and Nani show up, and then, I don't know where this came from, but Sarah's like, so at the beginning of this thing, I figured that you and we would have the most solid relationship or something like that. And so Bananas has to kind of say like, oh, well, you are, you're really close or whatever. The reason why I'm saying it doesn't make any sense that Sarah would say that, like, well, I thought we were friends. Going back to the mission, Bananas was in charge of the roster, of the lineup, and he put Jordan and Sarah at the very end. I mean, that's always a sign of good faith. That's always like, you always let your friends, if you're not going to go last, you let your friends go last.
Yeah.
Because then maybe they'll pay you back. So out of nowhere, there's that sort of question, and Bananas got to be like, no, man, I've known you for a long time, and I feel like that I could trust you or something like that. But, clearly he can't. Sarah and Jordan are going to be playing both sides, which is, smart. They're not going to call out Wes at all. They're just going to wait for Wes to call out Bananas, or vice versa.
And they're going to use their pawns in the meantime to get at each other. That's my feeling. And then, eventually, I think they're hoping that they're the forgotten team in the whole alliance political spectrum.
They're playing both sides. They're telling Bananas that we're going to get rid of the rookies, a.k.a. getting rid of Wes's alliance. But at the same time, it's like, that's boring. It's just the rookies again. That's all it is.
I mean, we're not getting to that. I mean, we got a few more episodes yet before we start getting into where it's going to get interesting.
I felt like a lot of shades of Fresh Meat 2 in this episode, because Sarah, she wins, and she's kind of echoing a sentiment that Caitlin had in Fresh Meat 2, where she showed up, and she's like, I'm sick and tired of hearing about Kenny and Wes running challenges back to back to back. I'm going to be the third person, or the third power. Like, I'm the third party that's going to win in the end or whatever. And that's what Sarah's saying. This is what she's saying after her first mission win. Already, she's so overconfident and just sitting there just like, Jordan's like, wouldn't it be great if we win the next 3 to 4 missions? They're already talking like they have all the power right now. It's so, I don't know, whatever. I mean,
I think that part's a little bit ludicrous, obviously, but I do like the plan for now to feel things out and get Bananas and Wes out of their mouth. They've been top performing teams in almost all the missions. The first two, Wes and Bananas win. I mean, these are two of your veteran teams that are always near the top. They're going to win another one. One of them will, guarantee. So I don't think it's a bad strategy overall to just try to keep it civil with them at least. And if they think they have each other's back, well. And then Jordan says he wants to face Bananas in a final.
Yeah. What do you feel? What do you think?
Well, I thought you brought it up good, but I think he wants to actually go against a good competitor. And I think he really wants. I mean, I don't think he thinks he has much chance in an elimination against Bananas, but I feel like he thinks he has a better chance in a final.
Yeah,
it's
which
I
like find
the Packers NFC Championship defeat where you think you're so overconfident and you think you're gonna win.
Oh man, talk about a fresh scab, man. You're talking about the Packers' loss.
I'm so pissed off.
Well, no, that kind of reminds me, man. Like Dave, he was like, I want the Patriots to win so they can be defeated at the Super Bowl. And I'm like, Dave, you're an idiot, man. Like, why would you want the most dominating force? And basically, Bananas is Tom Brady. He's won so many, and recently too. So you could say that, oh, and Bananas, he can be a fucking cheating bastard as well. I bet he deflated balls as well, man. Bananas and Brady, man, one and the same. So yeah, Jordan is like, I want to take him in the final. Now, that's cool, right? That's showing that you got balls, correct?
I respect the move.
Yeah.
I'm an extremely fierce competitor. I hate losing. Ask Vince. Board games,
Wait, but would you want to take on one of the biggest competitors in a final, though? Would you personally want that? And not only the biggest competitor, but one of the competitors that put you in your place last season. He's really ratcheting it up the stakes on this one. I mean, sure, it's exciting, but
I don't think it's the best idea in the world, but I respect the bravado.
And that's something that you need in this game, man. Their ultimate decision is just to throw Adam and Brittany in. Another rookie team. And that's boring. I mean...
That's why I thought the episode was just boring overall.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not talking about the first couple minutes, but the mission and the elimination, the dome.
I mean, at first, episode 1... Wes throws in Dustin and Jessica. They weren't rookies. That's the thing. That's what I keep on trying to get at. Like, rookies are just cannon fodder. You know, they're sheep to slaughter.
Yep.
And Wes wanted to go a little bit higher. He was like, Dustin and Jessica, they are a threat, and they're wild cards. And he takes them out. Now, what does Bananas do? He just puts in a rookie. Sure, it's because Wes made alliance with him, but, like, it's the same old shit over and over again. I'm just saying it from a point of view of, like, I've seen so many of these. I want to change it up, man. But, dude, like I said, if Bananas would have put in Jordan and Sarah or Zach and Janae against Johnny, Riley, and Avery in episode 2, there you go.
Got a good team.
You got the JZJ alliance down to J and Z or just JJ. You know, we don't know.
But then you got them gunning for you, too. Right now, nobody's gunning for him. Well, I bet you, I mean, there are people gunning for him. There's people, especially Wes, obviously, but...
I don't know. I want good TV. I want power moves, actual power moves. Not just saying, like, I'm going to put in a rookie. I mean, if Wes didn't make an alliance with the rookies, people still would be putting in rookies. But I am glad that Wes wins. There's the establishment of power. Bananas win. There's an establishment of power. Now, Jordan and Sarah, they want to get in there a little bit, although they're basically going to let these two old men finish their grudge match. Bananas and Wes should know enough that they are endangered in this game. That JZJ alliance, man. I mean, look at it. Johnny, Riley, and Avery, they won elimination round. Now they're back. Jordan and Sarah, they win a mission. And no one's going to put Zach. I'm pretty sure Zach's going to get to that final again. I mean, look at how confident he is. He's like, the only reason why I haven't been in a final all 3 times is because I DQ'd the JZJ, man. That's going to be the main thing. And no one is getting off their ass and doing something about it. All right, so Adam and Brittany, they're selected, and then the dome, man. He said, she said, which was harkening back to the Duel 1, where you kind of bet.
Bet your partner.
Yeah, it's kind of gambling.
How much food you can eat.
They have 3 minutes to eat a dish.
I can eat a lot, and I'm not really a big dude. But if I had to finish something in 3 minutes...
Could you eat 7 brownies in 3 minutes? That was ridiculous.
Yeah. That was a blunder on Simone's part.
Oh, yeah, that was funny. So it starts off with Brittany and Simone. They have to bet on whether they think their guys can eat X amount of brownies in 3 minutes. Brittany's like, 4 brownies. Simone's like, 3 brownies.
Yeah.
She was a little nervous. You know, maybe she was just like, I don't think he can eat that much. But going into this, though, John, Jay, and Simone, they're like, we both suck at eating challenges. So our strategy is get them to eat every single time. Ultimately, Simone's like, yeah, well, have Adam eat 7 brownies in 3 minutes.
Which he crushed.
Well, even then, though, man, he was acting a little weird. Like, he said he has a very sensitive stomach and stuff, and he was kind of struggling with that. It wasn't even that big of a deal, I thought. But then next is the guys, they have to bet and see what their girls can do. John Jay stays with his original plan and just calls it on Adam. He's like, oh, you think Brittany can eat 13 yucca sticks?
Yucca sticks.
In 3 minutes? Go ahead and do it. So Brittany has to eat those 13, and
Doesn't
she can't.
Come close.
She 10 out of 13?
Half a 1 or 10 left, you still lose.
That's point for John Jay and Simone. Adam and Brittany got the first point, so now they're tied up. This is the final round. I don't know, what was it called? Patacones? Yeah, they look like cookies, basically. Brittany switches it up on them. They were like, hey, have John Jay eat those 11 things, man. So they have to go in there, and fucking John, he's so lame, man. Like, I said this on this comment. I was like, you know, he looks like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, but he does not have the appetite. and he had no sense of urgency when eating those. And the other thing about John Jay is that, remember at the very beginning in episode 1, he's like, hey, I'm John, and I'm a stand-up comedian. Nights made me laugh way more than him. If anyone, Night should be like, I'm the stand-up comedian. John Jay and Simone, they lose. They're going to the Exile. What would you think about the Exile? Can you explain the Exile to me? I still don't understand it. Going against Dustin and Jessica.
I think that they couldn't have rows horizontally and vertically. Anything of the same color.
So just diagonally?
Just diagonally.
John, he figured it out pretty fast.
Yeah, he figured it out fast.
Dustin and Jessica.
The main topic is
they're gone.
They're gone.
That sucks.
And they were banging.
They were banging.
They had to have been. Look at them. They were just all chummy with each other.
Yeah.
And before they weren't as chummy like in the house, but I think all that boredom in the house.
You got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Just bang it out.
I mean, that's what I'd be doing.
That was it. I guess we're gonna have to address the elephant in the room, which was Diem and Diem leaving and CT having to go with her. I don't know, man. I don't know what else to say. At the beginning of the episode, it was like, should we even be watching this? I mean, this was the most heart-wrenching thing I've ever seen on reality TV.
I would say that was very depressing.
Very.
And rest in peace, Diem. You know.
Yeah.
And Knight too, of course.
What I was trying to say is like, Knight's we're kind of like celebrating his life just through jokes and shit, But this episode, it was like Diem was just in pain.
CT was pretty genuinely worried. And
oh yeah. It's really rough, CT starts off drinking and just having a good time. I was like, Diem sent me out. She's like, hey, go ahead and celebrate with Johnny because he just won his dome. And he gets back and producer's like, hey, she's at the hospital. And he's like, oh, okay, we're gonna go then. Like he just grabs his stuff and he's waiting. He's yelling at the producers like, hey, come on, drive me over there. You drive me over there, or I'm gonna go by myself.
I'm guessing they didn't let him go because of liability issues because he had been drinking. Well, she came back the next morning, didn't she?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they gave him the cell phone to calm him down. Yeah. She kind of was on the phone. Then she shows up, but god damn it, she did not. She looked in such pain and agony, man. It was crazy. I felt really weird seeing all that footage, to be honest with you. It didn't seem weird until this episode where I was like, god damn it. It was hard. I never felt so emotionally distraught watching something. We watched American Sniper like a couple hours before that, and after that I was like, oh my god. So this episode following that immediately, it was just like I was like, how do we even watch a challenge after this? How do we even watch a mission now? It was really odd. So I feel like the episode, in a way, it was kind of boring. But then I guess it's as much as they could do for us because we just watched someone's last few moments on TV.
That we've seen quite a few times over the years. And
yeah. Man.
Yeah. Should we have a moment of silence? That's what you do for people.
I could make a moment of silence. Trust me, I'm gonna edit you out so much.
No elephant in the room jokes.
Yeah.
And in case you were hearing this and you didn't, Vince edited out the elephant in the room joke. Well,
and then he brings it back up. Just for me to edit it out again.
I thought it was a classic one-liner. Some of our female audience may not agree.
So, with all that being said, that's the end of episode 3. It was a doozy. It was an emotional gut punch. And then we were all just kind of sitting there in shock while we see people flying around, swimming. We see Sarah planning for the future, playing Bananas and Wes against each other, and ended with kind of a lackluster dome. Not that the idea was bad. It was just the people participating in it. There was no sense of urgency. So
the Patsy's got to go, man. The Patsy's got to go, and then we'll see the good stuff. When the people you're emotionally invested in are clawing at each other's throats, finding any reason they can to get rid of the other person or any way they can to get rid of the other person.
I gotta say, it sucks that Dustin and Jessica are gone. Just because, look at the alternative, John Jay and Simone.
They're not gonna make it that far.
Yeah, if you go online on MTV.com, you could look up little excerpts that they shoot for themselves, just like, oh, this is week 3 in Ex-ile and stuff like that. Like, what the fuck are they gonna say? Are they even gonna be banging? They should at least bang for us.
Well, yeah.
Remember to subscribe.
Yeah.
So you can get up to the minute podcast news.
And let us know what you think.
Yeah, let us know what you think. Interact.
Tell Vince what a douchebag he is.
Yeah.
For his bombastic comments.
I felt like I reined it in this episode. There was nothing to say. Well, you mean older episodes? Yeah, sure. Add some comments. I don't know. Sometimes you gotta just say what's real, man. You can't be too PC about this sort of stuff. Subscribe, and we will see you next week. Signing off, I'm Vincent Cloud.
DJ Matty Nice.
Fuck off, everyone. No, we can't edit that.